Greetings everyone, welcome to Business by Nature. I'm Natalie Kent and today we're talking about values and money flow. So if you're someone who wants to really build your financial foundation from the inside out, then this show today might really speak to you. So we are in Taurus right now. The cycle of Taurus is about resources. It's an earth sign. It's about getting a stable foundation underneath us so we can grow and build throughout the year. So when we planted our seeds, scattered those seeds back in Aries, now is the time that we are embedding them in the ground so they can take root. So say hello if you're here, everyone. I want to know who's joining us today. Now hopefully the tech will work in our favour today. Rachel's here, and Leonie, hello. Cool, and Jodie's in the shower, listening from the shower. Well, that's very dedicated of you, Jodie. So for those of you who are new to this broadcast, every week I talk about different aspects of how we can create a business by nature, looking to nature for examples, for symbolism of how to grow a seed right through to a fully grown tree that can support so much of life, including our own lives. So I will be talking about the creator types today. If you are new to the creator types, they are a body-based profiling system. So when we're talking about nature, the primary aspect of nature is our own nature. So how are we in our bodies built like nature? So with the creator types, there are 12 types that reflect different nature states like sun and snow and tree and ocean and lake. So all of these different types have different ways of cycling energy through their bodies. So when your soul wants to execute its soul's mission, you have to master the body and how it is physically designed to create the purpose you are built for. You are built for purpose. So that's why we all look different and move differently. And of course there are patterns and similarities between different bodies. So that's what the types are about. So if you're new to the creator types, you'll get some insight into that today. But there are links above this post if you want to find more or if you want to find out what your type is. So I'm Natalie Kent, creator of Sacred Business and the Creator Types and the Natural Cycle Planner. Now the Creator Types and the Natural Cycle Planner do work in conjunction. They do work together. And if you are one of our paying members as a sapling or a tree member in this group, you'll be attending the workshops each month and you'll be seeing how I'm integrating those as we go. So each month I talk about the Creator Types and the cycle we're in, as well as the seasons and how all of that melds together to guide you in your business. Cool. Who else do we have here? Jillian's here. Hello. All right, so let's get cracking, shall we? Today we're talking about values, so let's ask the question. What are your top 3 values? Personal values. Now, your values are things that drive you in life. They are the things you are striving to create more of in your life. So they are your motivators. So if you want to share your top 3 values, do that in the comments. I want to see what diversity we have in our values in this group today. My top 3 values are fun. That's a new one for me. Fun was a bit further down on the scale, on the value scale before, but it's trumped a few and now it's up there. So fun, power and freedom. So they're my top 3 and we're going to see today how your creator type enlightens you about your values and why you've chosen those values. So these are your personal values in your life. Now, of course, the values that drive your business are going to be compatible with your personal values. They're going to feed into your personal values, give you more of your personal values in your life. But they don't have to be the same. So your brand also stands for certain values. So for example, the Sacred Business brand stands for balance, simplicity, and true abundance. So they are the core values of sacred business. Rachel saying value, harmony, freedom. Cool. Very nice. Jillian, connection, communication, and trust. Cool. All right. So we've got some interesting ones here. Let's see if there's any overlaps. Leonie's saying freedom, equality, and respect. Nice. So freedom, there's a bit of a theme. Freedom means different things to different people, and of course you're going to see, and as well as fun and power, they all mean something to you personally. So keep that in mind. What do each of these values mean to you? What do they look like in your life? And what are you striving to create more of, or how? So for those of you who have done the Soul Blueprint process with me before, you'll find that your sacred gift is probably one of your core values. So my sacred gift is power, so it's in my top 3. Your sacred gift is essentially the essence in a single divine quality that you embody in this life. And you walk the light and the shadow of that particular quality. Some people call it different things. I've heard, different versions of this. But it's good to know that at your core, at your absolute essence, what is one word that describes you? And of course, if you know your creator type, it is absolutely aligned with that. So your core creator type, your most prominent type, is going to, really illuminate what that is for you. So my core type is lava. So of course, power, being my sacred gift, is very much congruent with that. So essentially what we're talking about today is what motivates you and what the pattern, your creation pattern is, which then reflects how you make money. So, Jillian, freedom used to be one of my values for many years when I felt stuck and inflexible, buried deep in my soil. Yeah, nice. Okay, that's a good one. So, we're going to talk about that, like what some of the shadow aspects of each of the creative families might point to in terms of what you could be hiding, what you could excavate in terms of your value system. So, if you're not sure about the creative families, there are 12 types, and they're divided into 4 families: catalysts, realists, optimists, and humanists. And these are families for a reason, because they are driven by the same things. They're motivated in the same way. So I'm going to go through those today, and you might see yourself, whether you know your creator type or not, doesn't matter. You might see yourself and your patterns of money flow in these families. So let's begin. Let's begin with the catalysts. Catalysts are lava types, whirlwinds, and fire types. They're the 3 catalysts. Now, catalysts are motivated by risk. They are the ones who start the entire growth cycle. They are the starters. And therefore, they're always thinking about what's next. What's coming, like wanting to create the next big vision. And so they live on the edge. That's their nature, to live on the edge. Now, for example, a volcano or lava is living on the edge of eruption all the time. Fire is living on the edge of becoming wildfire. And whirlwind, of course, is on that edge of spinning completely out of control and becoming a hurricane or a cyclone. So the way that catalysts make their money, or their money flow pattern, is in bursts. Because when they're on the edge of discovery, and when they execute whatever they discover, whenever they act upon that risk, take a risk, they make money usually. So they create a burst, and you can't be taking risks 100% of the time. Risks come and go. Certainly they can personally be living in that place of risk, but in terms of executing, it comes and goes. So their money flow happens in bursts. So peaks and troughs, if you like. And so there's an inconsistency to the way that they tend to make money. So they don't tend to have a baseline of solid income. They tend to, and I'm talking about the shadow aspect here, and you might identify yourself in this category. They don't have a baseline of solid support. They make bursts of money, and then they make nothing or very little. And then another burst and very little. Burst, little. So that can be quite tiring, especially if you're one of the other types. You'll be going, no thanks, especially if you're a realist. So catalysts are designed that way. Now, of course, it's something that needs to be balanced, brought into balance if you are one of those types. So you can learn from the other types, which we're going to talk about now, as to how to do that. So from catalysts living on the edge, we move to optimists, who are motivated by hope. And these are the ones who are chasing the ideal, chasing the bigger and better all the time. So whereas catalysts are living on the edge in terms of, I want to take a risk, optimists, on the other hand, are, I want the ideal. And so they're constantly striving in a different way. So you can see how these motivating factors colour or, might indicate the value system that you have. So optimists, motivated by hope, they're the big spenders because everything is big to an optimist. Everything is grand scale. So these types are lightning, sun, and snow. They all come from the sky. The sky is expansive. It is not fixed. So that's their nature, is to think big, think off the earth, out there. And so their challenge, and these people often go into debt. It's very natural for them to go into debt because they're optimists. They think, oh, well, I'll just get out of it. No worries. Which is great if they've got a balance of realism in there, or they've got a partner or a, business associate who's a realist. Great balance. So they can go into debt and they can also make massive losses. But who cares, right? If you're an optimist, you'll just make the money again. And some of them really do. And that's how they live their life. So it's a different undulation with optimists. Anyone relating to this? Do we have any optimists listening right now? Rachel, I so see myself in this. Yes, so we have a Sun in the group. Welcome, Sunny. If you are relating to this in perhaps your partner or family members or friends, people that you know, your clients even, let's hear it. Let's hear what your version of this is. What do you see? What have you experienced? So the high rollers, the high spenders, optimists. Now, the challenge with optimists is that because they're in the sky, they're not connected to the earth. So they need to channel their idealistic energy through a person, ideally, who acts as their conduit to earth. So they really do well in partnership in that way if they can really work on their connection skills. So again, you might see your values in this. I think Rachel said freedom. That's a very optimist quality, value. So no surprises there. And my other primary type is lightning, which is an optimist. So again, I see this in myself. Jillian, that is so terrifying. Yes, of course, for someone who's firmly ensconced on the ground in soil, being off the earth in the sky with no limits, my God. Okay, so we have catalysts and optimists. These are the fire and air families. So they're the dynamic types, and you'll see it in their body types. They are fast movers, and they're very responsive. They're able to respond quickly to their environment. Very adaptable people. That's the nature of fire and air. And they're the starters. They're the initiators, the ones who get the ball rolling and inspire people, especially the earth and water types. So we're going to talk about them now. So then we come to humanists, the people, So humanists, we have tree, ocean, and lake. Now, humanists tend to get into codependence very easily because they are motivated by relationships and bonding. They want to be close to people. They want to have that connection with people. And so what can happen is messy boundaries, not really knowing where they finish and where the other person starts. And so their finances reflect the same. They often end up leaning on other people financially or getting into financial situations where there are blurred boundaries, where they don't actually have a sense of ownership or value of what's their own. So it's earth that they're really lacking in that sense. It's like that solid, and earth and fire actually, that solid, clear definition of this is me, this is mine. Jody, oh yeah, right, okay, so you've got a pensive face on, is that right? So humanists really need to learn self-sufficiency and what it means to have their own gig and their own money. So they're motivated by relationships, so any of their values will reflect that community, bonding, connection, da-da-da. So you might be reshuffling some of your values now if you know your type and you know where you sit out of these 4 families. Because the thing about values is they can be embodied values, ones that you can really easily live that are congruent with your physical reality, i.e. your body. Or they can be idealistic, disembodied values that are up in the clouds and coming from your head only. If you live in your mind, then they're not likely to be embodied values, and they're not likely to be ones that are A, congruent with who you really are and the way you operate, and B, they're going to be hard for you to manifest because they're actually not going with your nature. Does that make sense? Let's know. Is anyone having some reshuffling going on with their values right now? Having a bit of a review. So, okay, let's see. What's next? All right, so then we have realists. Now, realists are the soil creators, the mountains, and the rivers. Again, earth and water types. So the realists, of course, by the name, are the ones who are realistic, and they are motivated by results. They want to see an end outcome from something. It's not enough for them they can't live in the visionary, in the idealism of life. It's not how they're designed. They are designed to see tangible outcomes. So that can be in the form of money. So you'll notice a realist will stand out a mile away when they're the ones in the room who are talking about money on the table. Where's the money? Show me. Give me the black and white figures. I want to see it. If you can't show me that, I'm not engaged in this. So it doesn't have to be money because there's different types of realists, but it'll be something tangible. So whether you're creating a house, for example, which is all tied with money, anything in the physical plane is tied with money in this world, pretty much. But it could be, even relationship-based outcomes, but they'll still be tangible, like getting married. That's an outcome. So if this is you, if you're someone who's in this category of realism, you may notice that perhaps you're not growing at a very fast rate. And that's the Achilles heel of being a realist, is you're really good at holding the fort, keeping the status quo, maintaining, but not actually building or going anywhere. So this can be quite deceiving, especially if you're a mountain type, because mountain types do actually like to have a goal in mind and they're good at reaching their goals, but the challenge with them is that their goals what can undermine their goals is actually the lack of relationship and bonding in reaching those goals. So they end up way up in the mountains on their own, and what happens, the disaster state of the mountain is the landslide. So when they go too far without connection with others and bringing a team of people, making sure that their goals are in the context of others, not just completely being mentally driven to get there like a mountaineer, what will happen is their footing starts to erode because they've gone too far on their own, and the landslide brings them back down to where everyone else is. So they don't actually get anywhere. So it can be an illusion with a mountain type that they're getting somewhere, but they're actually not. Because we can't move faster than the people around us. It's all an illusion. Like there's a saying that a group can only progress as fast as the slowest person. There's really something in that. And it's challenging if you're a fast mover and you're a catalyst, or you're a mountaineer, or you're an optimist. It can be really challenging. Whereas a humanist get that. They're like, well, what's the point of moving forward if we haven't got our mates with us? Does this make sense? Does this ring true for you? Doing lots of talking here. Gillian, stop talking possibilities now. Tell me what my investment is up front. Oh, that's brilliant. So coming from a realist, Gillian's a soil creator. Possibilities? Realists, I want to hear about what's possible. So it's pretty funny watching an optimist and a realist have a chat. Because for optimists, their possibilities actually feel real. They don't feel like they're out in the sky because they live in the sky, right? But for everyone else, this is why the challenge of the optimist is connection. Everyone else is on the earth. They're going, hi, yeah, you're talking, but it's not getting through. I can't feel it. So that's their job, is to make that become like a translator of the possibilities. And especially if it's a realist is going to want to know, A, what's the investment up front, like Gillian's just said, and B, what's the outcome? What do I get out of this? Give me something I can feel and see and touch. So realists, they gotta watch out for stagnation. Realists, they're just really, really good at keeping things the same. They don't go down, they don't go up. So they need fire to get them moving, to get them aiming higher. And they need air to articulate what they want to aim for. And so they can keep growing. That's essentially it. Because otherwise what happens when realists become stuck on the ground at the same level, they become, especially in relation to money, they become bean counters. They literally count each dollar. And they become obsessive over those details. So, the black and white figures on a page when it comes to money, it's like that's all their reality is. So that can really undermine a realist. And they may not see it that way because to them, what's real is all that matters. So Nikki's, hello Nikki, I'm glad you're here. Leonie, I reached a point where I felt I had to take a risk if I wanted to go where I wanted. There you go. So maybe I'll be keen to see how you identify yourself in each of these families, Leonie. Are you a realist then? So because what you've described, I reached a point where I felt I had to take a risk if I wanted to go where I wanted. That means that statement is not what a catalyst would say, because risk is normal to a catalyst. It's a given. Gillian, so true. That's why freedom was my value in the past and I didn't have a volcano or my own fire. Cool. So that's good. So you can have others around you hold the values that you also aspire to. It's really clever. Leonie, the realist kept me limited. Yeah, that's right. So realists can, get very frustrated. And of course, it's like a low-grade frustration with realists. Like, it's an earthy frustration, so it's not a fiery one. It's a frustration, low-grade, beneath the surface, because they're not progressing. They're not actually moving forward. So looks like we've had a few ahas in here, perhaps. That's good. Because now you've heard all of the four families, and what their tendencies are and how they relate to values. So you want to be looking at what your patterns are around money flow. So when I teach about money to my clients and in my programs, I teach people to look beyond the numbers on the page, not to ignore them, because that's step one. Step one is to actually get the numbers on the page, get the facts of what your financial standing is, and so many people don't know their financial standing, or certainly don't know how to interpret their financial standing, as in what is actually needed now that I know these numbers. But I teach people to look at the patterns. So what are the patterns of your money flow over time? So we look at not just your financial standing now, we look at the past year, the past 2 years, the past 5 years. What is the pattern of money flow in your business and in your personal life? So that is not separate by any means. So we're looking for growth, but we're also looking for some stability too. So again, it's that balance of all four elements coming together. That's why we need all these types, right? So Jillian says, all my partnerships in business were air signs and I was their realistic anchors. A great aha. Yeah, there you go. So you want to be if you're looking at partnership or you're wanting these other influences to balance out your nature, then you have some idea of what to look for now. So if there are any questions, please ask. I'm going to start to wrap up now, because a lot of this information about the creator types are now going to be released to tree members. So if you've signed up as a tree member, you'll know that from now on there'll be a mini teaching once a month on the creator types, and it's an interactive teaching. So I'll actually be talking about the types we have in the group and bouncing ideas off and giving some feedback on how you can utilize and leverage your type in your work and your business. So that's something that we're doing in sort of a closed forum, so we can actually have a chat instead of this one-way thing. So these Facebook Lives will be restructured very soon in Gemini, and a lot of this creator type information will be throwing around in the tree group. So I'm really looking forward to that, because it means that we can delve in a lot deeper. And if you are wanting to go further with your creator type and applying it to your work, you might want to check that out. So it's only $50 a month, and you also get access to the monthly workshops as well as part of that. And I reckon the best part is you actually get to be with other creators. So you get to know the other creator types. It's a very rich learning environment. So especially if you're wired for co-creation and wanting to create more ease in your work, because you've got other types to interact with, whether you're business partners or collaborators or not, that doesn't matter. It's more about having the influence of other types in your business, so you don't have to do all of it yourself. You can stay in your lane, focus on what you're good at. So that's something you might be interested in, and the link is in the group description and at the pinned post in this group if you want to sign up as a tree member. And for those of you who are interested in getting together in the flesh, that's happening in October at Wollumben in New South Wales, Australia, so 5th to the 8th of October. The purpose of this Natural Creators Immersion is twofold. So creator types and natural cycles. We'll be teaching and working on your business in those 3 days that we have together, as well as learning about the other creators we have in the group who are there. So it's, again, going to be a pretty amazing, rich learning environment. And Of course, it's in a beautiful natural location. It's absolutely stunning, actually. Pristine, old-growth rainforest surrounds us, so it will be a true nature immersion. Jillian, it is amazingly supportive and expansive. How very soil of me. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Jill. I don't know which part, but... Oh, you mean the tree group. Yes, amazingly supportive and expansive. Brilliant. So, yes, I'm very grateful to have more than one soil in that group, in the tree group. So we want to diversify so we get some other types in there for sure. All right, so there are two things that you might be interested in if you're really keen to learn more about the creator types and applying them to your work. So if you have questions, please ask. And for now, it's bye from me. Thank you for joining us today, everyone. Lots of love. Bye.